What's up, everybody?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the Tug of More.
Man, super glad that you're here just hanging out with me and Whit.
Just two friends.
That's right. Having a conversation about life, about where we are, and really where we want to be.
That's right. You know, in life, we're here, but we know God has more, that there is more we are to accomplish, that there is more that he has for our life, both in our leadership, in our marriages, in our homes, in our families, in our calling, in our purpose, spiritually, all things. And so there's a fight and a tension to get there.
Yeah, you live in the tension of today with the dream of tomorrow.
That's right.
And that's what we talk about here on the Tug of More.
Every time.
Every time. And so lots of stuff's happening.
Yeah.
But God's been doing a lot of stuff in the church. And so
good.
like fun things and heavy things.
Yeah.
And something we say to our staff all the time is we want to be emotionally elite.
Yep.
We want to be elite, an elite level of emotional health. And to be an elite athlete, you have to put in a lot of work.
Yeah.
And to be elite emotionally, you have to put in a lot of work.
It's kind of where the Tug of More even came from.
That's
is
true.
like the idea of digging deeper. In fact, Julia reminded me that this is our 149th
Whoa.
episode. We've almost done 150 episodes of the Tug of More, which is crazy. But that's kind of been the goal, was to keep unpacking in life where we are, where we want to be, and how do we stay emotionally healthy in it? Because that's actually the harder part than, you know, getting your work done, doing the tasks on your to-do list, but actually digging in with what's here.
Yeah.
That's the part that's hard.
That's the hard work. So we're going to jump into that in just a minute.
Yeah.
But let's just do our update.
Okay, so
Life update. What's happening? It's almost Christmas.
It's almost Christmas. It is, for us, we do Christmas services right before Christmas. And so we have Jingle Jam, which is our kids and family service that is coming this Sunday. And it's a ton of fun. And really for us, we just get to sit back, laugh, and enjoy have a blast in it and wear our ugly Christmas clothes.
Yeah.
And it's tons of fun. And then the following Sunday is our Christmas Sunday, our cookie craze, our winter wonderland.
Christmas with more.
Christmas and more, with more church, 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock services if you want to come. So it's going to be exciting. But this Saturday we have a parade, which I'm pumped about.
Yeah.
Arlington Christmas Parade. And then we have one update from this week that is the most exciting, that I know you're the most excited about. So share it with us. Share it with the class.
Guys, we have a sign.
Dun, 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 dun.
There's
so
a picture.
Exciting.
Here's a picture of the sign.
We actually have two signs.
Oh, we've got Dose
signs. That's right.
We've been rocking a banner
for a year and a half.
And thankfully, the city of Arlington has been kind and generous
and gracious to us
in their timeline, but they kind of put their foot down and said, y'all.
All right, y'all, it's been a year and a half.
It's been a year and a half. You better get your junk together. And so we worked with a fantastic company.
Yeah. Barnett Signs.
Barnett Signs, shout out. And so they helped us get a big, beautiful sign with some warranty on it. So that should be nice.
Jacob Capetillo is incredible.
Whoa, hallelujah.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
And so all of you who are faithfully invested financially in More Church, thank you. Thank you. That's your sign. That's not my sign.
Right.
That's y'all's sign.
Y'all did it.
And
we did it.
Thanks for that. Excited. Jacob, the guy that helped put up the sign, he said anytime a business gets up a new high-quality sign,
that's right,
it increases their
revenue
by 40%.
Come on, somebody.
I don't know if that's true.
I don't know if that's true for churches.
Yeah.
It's true for businesses, I guess. But,
but
we don't know what our 40% is about to look like, but we're excited.
Hopefully some other people show up. I don't know if they can bring their kids.
What do you mean?
We got so many kids around here.
Oh, they can bring their kids. There's always more. But yeah, we've been working on it. We had 173 kids this week, which is crazy, but wonderful.
Crazy, but wonderful. So we're expanding rooms and opening up spaces.
And building our team for it. And man, it's exciting. Something you and I like jokingly have said to each other for the last 8 years is, hey, we're just making a church, right?
Yeah, just making a church.
It felt yesterday like, as the sign went on, like, we made a whole church. Like it was like the icing, the cherry on top of like, we made a church.
Well, because for all those years at the Pig, our sign was a portable trailer banner that like worked, but was also kind of like rednecky.
And then sometimes got called on, move it, it's in the way,
the storm would blow it over.
Whatever. And so this is like legit, too legit to quit, not gonna leave, gonna be there, lights up at night.
Yeah.
You can see it from the highway in both directions.
Oh, bro, you can see that mess.
It looks so good.
So if you're driving through Arlington, you better turn your neck and look, say, what's up?
Go down I-20 and you'll see it. Jacob, that helped, our guy that sold it to us and helped install it, he said that his team had never installed letters so big. What?
Hello, they're 7 feet tall.
What?
Look,
That's
here's a
weird.
picture of Whitney standing next to one. 7
foot. 7 foot tall.
Because you don't realize how big they are. And, down the plaza from us is an Office Depot. We straight wreck shop on those fools.
It makes Office Depots look like a tiny little baby sign. Like, what? But, hey, that's okay.
That's right. There's more.
There's always more. What else? Uh-oh.
I'm choking to death. Something weird happened this morning.
What?
I walk in my office, and on my desk,
with
my door locked. Did you put that there?
You know who did?
Is a Butterfinger. Better not lay your finger on my Butterfinger.
I'm a little offended.
I said, why do I have a Butterfinger on my desk? And when he said, because in the podcast, you talked about how you like Butterfinger.
But I talked about how I love Three Musketeers and ain't nobody bring me one. So I'm kind of mad.
Yeah. And so I just want to test out something.
Yes.
You know what else I would love?
What else would you love?
2024 F350 6.7 liter diesel high output Tremor edition.
Yeah.
Silver, red,
black.
Or black.
Yeah.
There you go. So if one of those magically appear, like the keys to one of those fully paid off with the title appear on my desk next week.
Somebody's going to get you a little Matchbox
That doesn't
car
count.
One.
No, if I can't fit my body in it, that doesn't count.
That's really funny. No, it's really, you were amazed, like, where did this come from? I'm like, a human person probably brought it.
And it showed up in the worst season because, like, between Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, you're kind of like eating garbage a little bit. At least I have been.
Today is my fault.
Today's Winnie's fault. We had meetings all morning. I didn't eat breakfast, which was my fault.
That's why I did it.
And then she said for lunch she wants burgers.
I wanted a burger so bad, and I love the Kincaid's burger, and so.
And I did not go there and order salad.
No, do they even have a salad?
I got a burger with bacon on it, cheese, jalapenos, and onion rings on the burger.
It's a great burger, and I was happy.
And I'm a little ready for a nap now.
I know, but
and so when you're tired, what do you need? A Butterfinger.
So good. All right, what else? So we got to sign.
You know what? We haven't even talked about.
What?
My favorite Sunday that I've ever experienced in all of my life.
This is true. I think we mentioned it last time that we were going to do it, but we had not yet done it.
Last Sunday at Moore, we had our More to the Story Sunday, our first one ever, where we had 4 testimonies of the house, talk about what God's done. We put a hammer in their hand and let them wield the power to grow some swords in the hands of others.
Yes, not an actual hammer, but if you missed it, you missed it.
If you missed it, you missed it.
But yeah, it was incredible. Our friends Emerson, Myra, Ryan, and Tiffany, all 4 shared their story, what God's been doing in their life, and shared what I loved, what was kind of the like catalyst for it was, as we've been talking about devil versus default, they all have great stories of how they've really fought their defaults. And so it was kind of the conclusion of the series, even though we're continuing it here in this conversation. Yeah. But they were able to, I really believe, give encouragement and freedom to other people that, hey, fighting your defaults, it's worth it to kick the devil out and say, hey, you don't get a foothold here. And man, it was, you said it's beautiful. Best Sunday ever.
Best Sunday ever. You know, you used to want to hire a guest speaker to come in.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I'm going to take a day off, I've got to go pay some dude who doesn't know our people, doesn't know where the church is. Are they even going to speak something that's biblically sound? And now it's like, it feels like we've got the formula. Mm-hmm. That like, why would we not just develop the voices in the house?
Well, the connection to the house, and especially this house.
They're giving them standing ovations. Y'all better amen me like that next time I preach on Christmas. Yes, y'all better be amen.
It was so good. They're shouting them down. And they know their stories. Anyway, the way it connected was better than any guest speaker we've ever had. And so it was wonderful. It was better than anything. Yeah, a lot of times in our morning rally, we say, best Sunday ever. And I'm like, no, this actually was the best Sunday ever. There's no such thing. It's just another Sunday. Yeah. But that was a pretty special Sunday.
So we're going to work on working those kind of days into the year.
2, 3, 4 times a year. We don't know.
I can't wait. It's so good. Okay. So they kind of concluded the idea of devil versus default. But here on the Tug team, we're talking about it. And so last week's episode, if you didn't check it out, we talked about our defaults and our roles.
Yes.
And Whitney and I went a little bit deeper into how our role personally were formed in us.
Yep.
And then how that gets fleshed out in our daily lives.
It was so good.
And what we do there.
Yeah. And so if you missed that one, you kind of got to go back to that one, because if you don't, then you're going to kind of be a little bit behind.
Yeah, this is part 2.
But identifying your default, that's been the number one question that we've gotten from people is like, okay, now
how do
that
I figure it out?
Yeah, now that we ripped the Band-Aid off of this, we like opened up our chest to the world. now what? Somebody this week said to us, now that I know I'm crazy, what do I do with it?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, we're not crazy. We just all have our defaults. And yeah, we have to deal with them. And so we talked a lot last week about identifying them, but then we've continued the conversation realizing like, it's an ongoing journey.
Yeah.
You got to keep identifying it all the time.
Yeah. So watch last one.
Yeah.
Identify it. Look at triggers. Look at moments. How you feel crazy now and where that first started, and start drawing some of those lines. But we have to continue it. And man, I've been chewing on it a bunch.
Yeah.
One of the greatest things I think about the call to being a pastor, at least in how we do it, is you're forced to reflect a lot.
Yeah.
And so as I've been reflecting on how do I teach this, it's like the Holy Spirit is lowering the bucket even deeper into me about myself.
Yeah.
About my own defaults and my own roles.
Something we said as we've been like talking through it is, you said a minute ago, emotionally elite, but we are having to go 12 feet deep just to help other people go 12 inches deep.
Right.
Like, we've been wrestling this for 3 years, so we're not expecting people to go as deep as we are right now.
Right.
But we've had to go that deep in order to help other people just go a little bit. And it's difficult because you look at yourself and you're like, dang, I got a lot to do.
Yeah.
But it's an onion layer that you just keep peeling.
I guess we'll just keep talking about it.
Yeah, right.
Have you ever felt like you get critiqued a lot? Like in life?
Yeah.
Like, do you ever feel like critique is a part of...
Oh, for sure.
I feel like as I look back in my life, the critique has always been like close to me.
Mm-hmm. I think also, what we always would say is our personalities lend to that, but we are learning, no, it's some of our defaults that created that personality in us.
Right. And so like my role of pick it up, deal with it, carry it, fix it, handle it, be strong all the time. It was almost like my role was, God's expanded in my mind that it's like pick it up, but then be ready to dodge the punch after you pick it up. Because there's going to be somebody standing over your shoulder critiquing
the way you picked it up.
It's
really good.
And it goes way back to my childhood, but then it's super emphasized in my 20s in ministry, and then mega emphasized even now as a 40-year-old man that I'm telling you, I can't preach a Sunday without somebody sending me an email.
Right.
Or somebody grabbing me in the lobby and say, well, what you should have said was. And so like, I'm just waiting for a critique. And so like, that makes you defensive.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it.
Pick it up, dodge the punch, and then defend yourself from whoever's attacking you while you're carrying something immensely heavy. And like, so all I'm telling you is God's going to keep unveiling to you,
right,
as he's doing to me in real time, about how to navigate your role.
Because if you don't keep unraveling it, then you get to a place, but as you're talking about that, I'm like, yeah, isn't it crazy how now that you've identified that, those critiques don't hurt the way they used to.
No.
But used to, if somebody would leave the church or someone would send an email or something, it would be this like, oh my gosh. But now that you've identified, oh, this is part of the role in my life that the enemy has used to make me feel discouraged, to make me feel frustrated, to make me feel not enough. Then it's like, oh wait, this is not going to bother me the way it used to bother me. And that's why it's so important to keep digging, keep going.
Well, and realizing that sometimes people that are bringing me those critiques, it's because of their brokenness.
Correct.
It's because of their defaults and their role, that they don't know how to, instead of listening and chewing on what I did teach,
right?
Because they can't handle
the truth.
They would rather bring critique of what I could have said, instead of just being like, oh, well, instead of examining me, I'm going to examine him.
That was my favorite thing.
And so once I realized that, I'm like, I can receive it with a smile. Thank you for that. Well, what did you think about this?
Yes.
Then they get mad and leave the church anyway.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
No, that was my favorite part about Sunday, was how all of them said at one point or another a moment where you or I or both had given them truth and love. And I thought, for those type of people who are sitting in the chairs who don't like to, they have lots of critique because they don't like to be reflective, they had to have gone, oh, it's not just me they're doing that to, it's everyone. And so we're trying to deal with our defaults. We're recognizing we have to keep unpacking them. And so what's the next level step that we were wanting to discuss today? We allowed some notes from you
so we
just remembered where we're going.
We don't do notes very often, but with this continuation of the series, we already had a dump page of stuff that we wanted to talk about. And so I've just got a couple things on the list here. So we already talked about the role unpack. Yeah. Right? And so then I think after you unpack your role, is that you realize that you have to start defining what you want your new role to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you understand your old role. How do you want your new role to define you? Because without understanding who you are actually called to be, who you really want to be, you have a hard time stepping into it.
It's really good. You talk about you first and like what you identified as your opposite of your role, or what you identify, or what you are learning to identify even right now in this moment.
Yeah. Can I give a little Bible story?
Absolutely. Of course, Pastor.
So you remember David?
I remember David.
So David goes
King David,
but before he's king,
okay.
he goes and fights Goliath.
Yep.
He goes out there with a sling and a stone to the head, boom, dude dies. Okay. What's he do next? He pulls out Goliath's sword, giant mega sword, chops off the giant's head.
Super sword, yeah.
Then he carries the head around and everybody's singing David, kill his people.
Yeah.
But later on in David's story, he finds himself hiding amongst caves by himself, and he has no weapons.
Right.
And so he goes into the temple, into the church of the day. And do you know what artifact they have saved there? Goliath's sword. And so now David, who is unarmed, picks up the weapon of Goliath, and he starts to use it to fight his next season battles.
Come on.
Now stay with me.
Come on. That's good.
What I believe God does is he takes an enemy, a weapon that was formed against us, and then in a new season puts that weapon that was wielded for our destruction, he puts it in our hand, and now we use it to defend and bring freedom to those who are oppressed. Good God, I'm preaching at the tug of war.
So good.
If you'll allow God to do the work that he wants to do, he'll take your old role, the thing the enemy meant to use for evil, and he'll turn it for good, and he'll put it in your hand as a weapon to liberate other people.
It's really good.
So for me, my old role was to pick it up and then dodge the punch.
It's really good.
You know what I'm learning? Is my new role is to receive the vision and then lay it down. My new role is to hear from God what he wants to do and then not carry it, but to lay it down, to get off the throne. God, I heard what you said. I'm going to do what you said, but it's not only in my hands.
Come on.
It might stay in my hand, but my hand is open to you. And the reason that my favorite Sunday ever in all of my life happened this last week of letting 4 other people preach is because I laid it down. I could have preached everything they said. I have.
Right.
But when I put it down and I let some other people share it, when I've allowed Whitney to preach stuff that I wanted to preach and I laid it down, her words liberated other people, but it was only in my ability to put it down.
Right.
And so I'm learning so much about me.
But not only did it liberate other people, it also liberated you.
Liberated me from picking it up.
And I think that's the piece that is so beautiful in it, is like doing the work is hard, but it's also so rewarding for us and so freeing for us that, like, at first, think about it. At first, when we started going to counseling, we started working through all these things. When we started like really digging deep, it sucks and I don't want to do it. And I'm kind of, now I get excited about it, which is a weird thing, but it's because I've recognized not only is this going to bring freedom to others, it's also going to bring more freedom to me.
Yeah.
So good.
So what's your new role supposed to be?
Yeah.
What are you supposed to become? And so, like, I look back in my personal journal, and so I just, actually, it was really good. I took Lillian on a daddy-daughter date, and me and her went to a coffee shop. We went to Grounds and Gold.
Yes.
And so she brought her Kindle. Kindle?
Yeah. Book. She reads a book on it?
Yeah, she's reading a book on her Kindle. And I took just my journal because I wanted her to know I didn't have my laptop or, like.
That's good.
I'm still engaged.
You're paying attention.
With her.
Yeah.
And so I just started, and God was telling me things about my role. And so I wrote down on my role, out of pick it up, that meant I had to be strong. I had to perform. I had to elevate myself, right? If you're picking up, you're elevating you. I had to drum up blessing. Because I'm picking it up. So I've got to drum up my own
It's all
blessing.
on you.
I've got to make myself known.
Good grief.
I have to promote me. Weakness equals failure. So never look weak because I got to pick it up. I have got to, I receive applause through strength. That anytime I get applause or affirmation in my life, it comes from me being strong. That's what my role of Pick It Up was. That I have to be the strongest first, that I have to be an alpha in every moment, that I can never lose my grip, that I have to be better than others, that I have to tell others how it should be done and not allow them, right? I have to display myself. This isn't Pick It Up. But when God says, well, and after I'm writing all that down, I kind of get to the end and then he says, well, what's your new role? And I'm like, my new role? Well, I need to lay it down. You know what it takes to lay it down? I have to trust him. I have to rest. And I have to just be. You know, it's kind of cliche. People say, you're a human being, not a human doing.
Right.
But I wasn't.
Right.
I was a human doing. But to lay it down, until I can lay it down, I can't rest. Back to the story of me on the beach and crying that I told last time. And
Pause.
So, okay.
Do you see how long the one list is of what it takes to pick it up versus what the new role is?
Yeah, trust God, rest, and just be his son. And do you know the amazing thing?
Right.
What I believe is going to happen in my life is that all this other stuff I wanted so bad about promotion and advancement and all that's going to happen by laying it down.
Well,
you watch what God does through More Church when it's not mine.
Right.
Watch what he does next.
I was going to say, and it looks totally different.
Yeah.
But it's actually more than you expected. It's actually more than you could have anticipated. It's actually more than what you could have done on your own. And I think we say that, but we don't actually believe it. But when we look back on our lives and we realize, oh, in these moments when I did lay it down, this is when God was able to step in. Oh, dang, it went way better and bigger and easier than if I'd have done it on my own. It's just, as you're reading that first list, I'm like, bro, that's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
That's an exhausting way to live. No wonder so many people in our lives burn out, spin out, quit, whatever it is, because if we get stuck in our default role from the time that we are 6 years old all the way up, we're going to, at a certain point, wear ourselves junk out.
Yeah.
For me, I talked about it last week. Mine is to smile to fix it or fix them and then forget about it. Well, you can only forget about so many things. And the longer in life you live, the more things you experience, the more grief you walk through, the more heartache you walk through, the more joy you walk through, the more experiences you have, the more things. And if you're just constantly trying to forget about whatever thing happened, you run out of space to hide it. You run out of space to dig it down. And like for me, the explosiveness that was happening everywhere really came from this whole smile and fix it and then forget it, because smile and forget it are kind of one and the same. They're kind of the bookends of each other, because what I'm smiling is is saying, I forgot about it. Doesn't matter. I'm fine. Everything's fine. This is fine, which is the worst 4-letter word you can say. And even in my marriage, I had to realize, no, feel it. Rather than smile, it's feel it. Like I have to feel it. And in my feeling it, then I don't have to fix it. I let God fix it. Instead of, it's fine. Everything's fine. I got it. As you're reading that list, I'm like, that's almost the same list. Like right. Mine has even some extra pieces to it. In mom life or in, all these things. Yeah. And then don't forget about it. Look at it, celebrate it, remember it. And like, when I look at the idea of feeling it, let him take it and remember it, that shifts my whole life. That allows me to celebrate the goodness of what God has done. That allows me to look back on the hard moments and say, man, that was so hard. But let me tell you about what God did in me and through me. And like, when I really look at who he's called me to be as the pastor he's called me to be, that is the only way I can continue to be me. It's the only way I can continue to love and care for the people around me and to help them step into the more that God has. We just right before this had a meeting with people, with a person that I love deeply and that I believe in so much. But if I was still in my phase of just smile, fix it, and forget it, one, they just went through a hard season and like I was able to speak truth and love them through it, but also feel the feelings I felt about it. And I wouldn't have been able to do that and handle that correctly. I would have been trying to fix them and rather than let them walk through what they needed to walk through. Yeah. And the ability for me, because you've known me so long, my ability to be fully transparent as a human did not come fully until I was willing to feel and remember. Because instead, I just like, it's fine, everything's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I wouldn't say the real deep truth of what I'm currently walking through, what I was walking through, the experience, how that made me feel. And it hindered every bit of the way I could lead and love people, from my family to my ministry to my friendships, everywhere. And so now, it was weird. It was weird in my marriage to have to tell my husband, who had a wife for 20 years, who didn't tell him.
Whitney was his wife for 20 years.
Yes.
Not another wife.
Not a different wife, me. But for 20 years, his wife never told him how she felt until all the feelings I had got bottled up, and then I just exploded.
Yeah, so dude's playing guessing game, and then he's getting abused.
Right.
I've been physically abused in the ear.
And like, all of a sudden, I'm like,
people
hey,
don't know what that is.
Billy Madison.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying.
People don't know. Yeah.
They're 20, they have no idea.
But like, now to say, hey, that hurt my feelings, at first was weird. He's like, what? And then to me was weird. Like, now he's going to think he has this wussy wife who hurts her feelings at her all the time. But it's like, no, you have to talk about how you feel. And then like, yeah, in life, letting go, like actually letting God fix it and not fixing it. You and I have talked about it. It takes so much energy at first, to internal energy, to not try to fix it myself. But the freedom over the rest of my life is like, oh, he really is in charge. He really is going to do it. He's going to fix it, not me. He's going to fix them, not me. And then the remembering it is what's allowing me to now in this season literally celebrate. Because dang, the last 4 years have been hard, right? Like, I'm getting emotional right now.
Yeah.
It's been freaking hard.
Yeah.
But old me would have just shoved it down and be like, oh, it wasn't that bad. It's no big deal. Whatever. We made it. Yeah. And instead, right now, I told you this week, I'm like, we're in the super bloom of all of the like fruit that God harvested, what God's doing. But it's only because I'm able to look back and go, man, that really was hard. I remember how I felt. I remember what it was like. And so now I can celebrate the goodness of where we are.
When you and I first started working together, a part of your first like focus was to help celebrate.
Yeah.
And to help me learn how to celebrate.
Yeah.
And so the enemy just tried to steal that from me.
Yeah.
And you lost it for a while.
Yeah. I for a long, we would say, I think we talked about it. Like, I was we get to do this. Like, everything is exciting. Everything is joyful. But I started to literally lose my, we get to do this. And everything felt heavy. Everything felt hard. And it was only in learning to go, hey, you're allowed to say it's heavy. But if you're not the one that's responsible to fix it, then you can also then celebrate when God does fix it. When we start identifying the work that the enemy has done in our defaults to try to steal everything from us, then I'm like, screw you. I'm going to find the opposite and I'm going to fight for it. Okay, go.
So your new role, your old role, smile, fix it, fix them, and then forget about it. Your new role, feel it, let him take it, and remember he's faithful. Is that?
Yeah, that's a great way of saying it. Because remembering he's faithful requires remembering the good and the bad.
For the biggest one, if you had to boil it down to very fast, it's feel it.
Oh, yeah.
Feel it. Be okay feeling it, which that's already your superpower. But the enemy has been for others.
For everyone else. Right.
And so you have to learn how to feel it for you.
Yeah. And so he's been after it so hard.
Right.
That.
And like, my superpower is to be able to pick it up.
Right.
I'm great at picking it up.
Right.
But he tried to crush me through picking it up. And so what do I have to learn to do? Put it down.
Right.
Because I'm still going to pick it up.
And I'm still going to smile.
It's just, I'm going to pick it up. I'm just going to pick it up differently.
Right.
I'm not going to white knuckle everything.
Exactly.
Hold on loosely. Right?
Yeah.
Don't let
go.
I think it's actually a bad song.
We're going to use the gift that he's given us for the things he's asked us to use it for.
When you were talking, I almost went into like Pentecostal altar call mode. You know that song? When I think about the Lord.
How he
changed me, how he saved me, how he filled me. How he picked me up and turned me around. But it's that we've got to remember. When I think about, that's what you're saying. You've got to remember what he did.
Yeah. But for so long, I just wanted to move on and move forward. That then what you said is great. The faithfulness of God only comes through remembering both the good and the bad. It's not only remembering the good.
Yeah, because his faithfulness was needed in the storm.
Right. And that was mine. It was just to pretend that everything is always joyful is not actually reality. Yeah. And but you said it. The enemy, his whole goal is to pervert everything good that God does. And so the gift in you, the gift in me is important. But when we can identify this is a default in me also, then in his strength, in his power, in his timing, then the right moment comes to pick it up. The right moment comes to smile and fix it. What?
No, it's so I'm saying, guys, you're just in a friend's conversation. This is genuinely, like, our hope is that this is beneficial for you to learn how to think about it for yourself.
Yeah.
But
no, it's so good. What?
It's just funny that in my early 40s, I'm putting it down. Because most pastors put it down when they're 68.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they call it retirement. I'm not retiring.
No.
I feel strong as ever.
Right.
But I'm entering into spiritual fatherhood earlier than my predecessors have showed me I should.
Yeah.
They call themselves father at 68. No, I should be I should be in my father years now.
Yeah.
Not only to my children, but in my ministry.
Yeah, and the freedom.
Because when people are in their 20s, or when they've only been saved for 4 years, they're still able to do great things.
Right.
We can't say that the Junior Holy Spirit is alive and active only in 6-year-olds. It's alive and active in Ryan, even though Ryan hasn't been a Christian for that long.
Right.
It's alive and active in Tiffany, even though she just preached her first message.
Right.
The same Holy Spirit is alive in them. And so all they need is a father.
Right. And
put it down.
It's funny because
and let them pick it up.
Let them pick it up.
But show them how to do it healthy.
Right. That's the piece.
That's why we met with who we met with.
Yeah. The reason why, when we can identify our defaults, then we can help other people around us in our new role not have to walk through the same problems and experiences that we did in our defaults. Because who said it? I think it was Tiffany. Yeah. She said, she talked about in her message, her and her husband sitting across the table from Enrique and Cassandra. And she said, we were looking across the table at what could be.
Yeah.
And I think so often, that's our heart in even this, is just sitting across the table from what can be and saying, hey, you can find the freedom in this default. You are not, this is not, I was just born this way. This is the hands I was dealt. I am now a victim of my circumstance. Instead, I can name it and then I can move on from it. I can change it. And so good.
So what's your new role?
Yeah.
Do not just wordsmith it. This is not just a wordsmith or a vision board, what I want my new role to be. No, this is a from God. What do you want your new role to be so you can learn how to
You told me this week that one of your people you connect with a lot said to you, I've identified my role. And you said a great sentence after that I think is important for everyone. You said to them, okay, let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. You're like, what is it? They told it to you. And then you said, let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. And I think once you have identified it, or you think you've identified it, you've got to go talk about it. You've got to go sit with somebody, or your spouse, or your counselor, your therapist,
trusted
whatever
person in your life.
And actually talk about it. Because, even as you and I have been unraveling our defaults, it needed somebody else to bounce around. And I think we talked about this a little bit last week, but allowing people to speak into it and help you. Just now, you had written all your beautiful things down in your journal. I'm just now talking it out.
Correct.
And as I'm talking it out to you, you're writing down a more succinct way of saying what I'm saying.
Right.
But it's only in the talking it out that we got there. Go.
Well, you helped me understand through conversation what putting it down looks like.
Right.
Because we process together. Right. Whereas I'm helping you now a step later.
Yeah.
What is your new new role? You've got to talk about it with somewhere, because you've got to put parameters on the unhealthy role.
The unhealthy part. Right.
Some of us, our personality is to blame everything on ourselves. Yeah. And so as I'm trying to define what my old role was, my defaults, I naturally beat myself up too much.
Right.
And so talking that through with my community, with Rachel and Aaron Witt, talking that through, they helped me stand down on beating myself up a bunch of times. Because I want to blame myself for every problem around me. Mm-hmm. Other personalities
right.
don't associate any blame with themselves
right.
and only point blame away from them.
Right.
And so community has to tell them, no, actually that's your fault.
You got to look in the mirror.
This is why you have to have community.
Trusted voice, in your life. Yeah, it's really good.
So do you know your role? Next step after getting your role is like, God, what does my new role need to be? Mm-hmm. And then that's what you start aiming towards. That's the target that you start. Because listen, I'm still going to pick stuff up.
Yes.
I'm still unhealthy. I'm still broken man living in a flesh body. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be progressively sanctifying until I am called away into the glory, right? Yeah. But I also need a new target. And if my new target is get the vision and put it down,
right?
That's now how I need to be living.
Right.
So that when my wife feels me picking it up or my friend feels me picking something up, they can say, hey, bro, put it down.
Yeah. I said it on the week that you and Tim and I talked. But I think it's so important. Like, you're going to continue to screw it up. Yeah. But when you have other people around you and like, no matter how long you keep going through it, that very week, there was a moment in an event that we were having where I turned to my son and said, hey, just smile, go fix it, and we'll talk about it later. Yeah. That is literally my actual words of my default that I said to him. And then I looked, like, you and I caught eyes and I said, whoops, that's my default. And you said, if you didn't say it, I was going to. Yeah. And like, I've been wrestling with this for 3 years, still click back into it. Yeah. Sometimes in the right moments when it triggers me, whatever. But then 2, because I have people around me that can remind me, I'll identify it first because I know, somebody else will. Or if not, the blind spot, somebody else can help me see and be like, hey, you did that again. Yeah. And it's just it's so important to, 1, give ourselves the grace to know you're going to fall back into it. But what you said, when I have the goal of who I actually want to be, then I can, when I fall back into it, go, oops, I actually want to be that. Oops, my bad.
I got 3 more ideas here.
Okay.
I think we got time to do one more in this episode. Name it, not blame it.
Okay, so good.
I think it ties in better here. Name it, not blame it.
So Tim's the one who said it to us first, but like in our defaults, we have to look back and they are connected to people and circumstances.
Situations,
seasons that cause that. Trauma.
Jerks.
Big punks, right, in our life. And what we have to give ourselves permission to do, you and I struggled with this because like we grew up in church. We had parents that took us to church every week. All of these like loved God, all of that. It got hard to even name some of the things that we went through from our parents, but then also, yes, the next seasons of life at school, in college, in our early years of ministry, in our early years of work and life. Yeah. We have to name it and be able to say, hey, that actually did happen. For me, it was a hugely difficult one because actually part of my default is to act like it didn't happen.
Right.
But to name it.
Right. Which was Tim's.
Right. Which is also Tim's.
And this other guy that I talked to who told me this week he discovered it is the same thing.
Yeah.
Pretend like it didn't happen.
Right. And so
there's people that just like put it all on me, and then people that like pretend it wasn't there.
Pretend it even wasn't a thing. I handled it, but also don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Yeah. And so like naming it was a huge piece of like, if you don't name this, then I can't ever actually look at it, deal with it, get over it. You know, they talk about bullies and how you have to look a bully in the eye. And like, if you can't get brave enough to look the bully in the eye, you may never actually defeat the bully. It's the same thing here. This default is a bully in your life right now until you can look it in the eye, name it, name the person, the situation, the trauma, the jerk, whatever it is that happened. But after you do that, you named it, now you're going to move on. You're not blaming it. How many people in our life have we known that they have a default, they have a trigger, they have a whatever that sets them off, and they just say, well, it's because this happened in my life. And for the rest of their life, they never take accountability for that default trauma trigger, and they just blame the person or the situation. They become a victim rather than a victor. And God, it leaves so many people stuck.
Yeah.
And so
have you named it? And are you ready to stop blaming it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you've heard our stories. That's what happened. My dad's disability. Whitney's dad is a pastor, and some bad decisions he made. Rachel's dad was abusive and neglected.
Right.
Name it. But I can't just blame the rest of my life on what happened. Rachel's role as a child was to protect herself.
Right. Right.
Protect me. This was her role.
Right.
Nobody else is going to protect me. Nobody else is going to listen to me. Nobody else is going to look out for me. So I have to protect me. And if there was ever a person who could pick up victim mentality,
right.
it was her.
Right.
But she had to disassociate victimhood and step into being victorious.
Right.
I'm going to name my trauma, but I'm not going to blame it. I'm not going to blame my crazy today on them.
Right.
Which is what we do. We blame how we're acting on how somebody else treated us.
Or is actively treating us.
Or is actively treating us. But there's a time, this is called maturity.
Right.
Maturity is being able to actually look at yourself.
What we are not saying is that you are not a victim of assault. You are not a victim, whatever, like you're a victim of some things that have happened in your life. That's happened. But the victim mentality is to then stay there. Mm-hmm. You're allowed to say, hey, I was a victim of that situation, that season, that circumstance. But now I'm just naming that it happened and I'm going to become victorious, you said, rather than the victim forever.
Yeah.
There's a moment that we all get victimized somehow. I just want to be clear about it. Like,
yeah, we're not demeaning
what
your
happened to you.
Tragedies.
Right. But to stay in that, it keeps you, you'll never get to more. You can't.
King David could have spent the rest of his life saying, well, Saul was throwing spears at me.
Right. Right.
But at some point he had to get over the spears of yesterday.
Right. Yeah.
And so have you identified what those hurts were? And are you still like,
are you using
the people that are like, well, my mom was a drunk, so I'm a drunk.
Right.
Like, oh, okay. That's if you don't want to become emotionally elite.
Right.
But like if you actually want to get healthy and get past it, or the people that are like, well, my parents never hugged me.
Right.
Okay, I'm really sorry that you did not have any love and affirmation in your life. But that doesn't mean that you just need to be Stone Cold Steve Austin for the rest of your life. Are you going to be as huggy as somebody else? Maybe not as huggy, but you can start to crack the shell open a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, to have total victory does not mean to ever forget that it happened. No, you're allowed to name it. In fact, that's part of your testimony. But you're now becoming victorious, saying, even though this happened, I am victorious in Christ. This is the rest of my story. And when you decide that you will not become a victim of whatever, then you literally at that moment have like no excuse but then to blame yourself for the default if you allow it to live.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the part that, we hate it because we have to take responsibility for it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's a season for everything. There's a time, the Bible says, like, there's a season to laugh, season to mourn, season to, but there's also a season to get victorious. And so have you given yourself enough time to grieve, whatever, but now have you taken too much time? It's time to move on.
Yeah, it's good.
What else?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Guys, we our hope is that you'll just take some time to work on you. This kind of stuff that we're talking about, it does not just happen during a worship song on a Sunday.
Come on.
This does not just happen while you're listening to another sermon and getting more content. These self-awareness pieces happen when you'll get alone with God and like shut the noise off and just let God speak to you. There's something really powerful about quiet. You know, I realized this week that I have not done a good job in my own life at getting alone. Like usually when I'm preaching, I at least am alone in writing my messages, but I didn't write the message last week.
Right.
And then the week before, me and Tim did the message. And then this week is Jingle Jam. So it's been 3 weeks since I've and I filled those 3 weeks with a bunch of meetings I've been needing to have.
Right.
And a bunch of personal to-do lists that I've been needing to accomplish.
Yeah.
And so I've had no time, just me.
Right.
And very little just me and God because I've filled it up with all these other people. And I feel it on me.
Yeah.
I feel the like Panic at the Disco. I feel the like.
It's real.
I've got to decompress a little bit. That does not mean I need to go and get a massage or go to a hot tub. That means that I need to spend time with the Lord. Mm-hmm. That means that I need to be like, hey, God, search my heart. Right. Am I okay? Ring out in me what has gotten in there that I don't want to have in there.
It's really good.
And so like, hey, friends, you're worth some quiet time with God.
Yeah.
I know that there's always another show. I know there's another episode you want to watch. I know there's another podcast you want to listen to. I know. I think one of the worst things is I've always got a earphone in.
Right.
We just live our lives with the earphone in. Like maybe today, drive home from work in silence.
Yeah. It's really good.
Maybe take a shower with no music on.
Right.
Like just find a few minutes and give God a gap to speak to you.
Well, and you have to be, I mean, as we're talking about that, like just practically, you have to be intentional playing it.
Yeah.
Last week, and I knew like we had a lot happening, and then we had a guest from out of town that we had said, hey, we'll like connect with them on Saturday and spend some time. And yeah, we had done you and I had done a ton of meetings with people that week. And so Saturday morning, I was like, because I'm like, it's funny because I'm like, it actually was a hot tub, but I was like, I'm gonna go sit outside. We have a hot tub at our house. I'm gonna sit outside, and I took my iPad, I took my earbuds, I took my phone, and I got out there, and I was like, no, what am I doing? The goal of right this minute is to be in solitude.
Yeah.
Me and God. The goal is not all of these things that I just brought with me.
Yeah.
I had to be intentional in that moment to say, I'm not gonna do that, and just sit here in silence. And like, I know for girls especially, like that's not always fun, but
why for girls?
I don't know. I think just because girls talk too much, right? Like when I went to that retreat and then they told us to be quiet.
Yeah.
Women were pissed. They were so ticked. I was kind of happy about it because I needed a minute to decompress to get my head in the headspace there. But they were not happy about it. I don't know. Maybe it's not.
No, I think for guys it's doing. Because like you're just like my hands are busy. I'm just doing something that I have music on or something on in the background. I might not be talking, but I'm occupied.
Occupied, yeah.
Get unoccupied.
Unoccupied. Somewhere. And so anyway, in that moment, I was like, I just have to sit here 30 minutes, me and God, nobody else. And golly, it does. It fills your tank and it allows him to speak new things. And I really believe that part of the new season of our church and like the depth that we're able to do is because of the intentionality to say we're going to rest and we're going to hear from the Lord actually in our lives, and the obedience that of you like learning the practice of abiding has been allowed for the last 3-4 years for us to really dive into this season of unpacking it all.
But it feels unproductive.
Right.
It feels like a waste. It feels like nothing is getting done. But the less you can do, the better you can be. The better you can be, the more you can do.
It's true. It's really true.
So hang up from here and then throw your phone in a trash can and then go talk to Jesus with a journal and a pen.
Yeah, the amazing thing is our phones have this thing called Do Not Disturb. Try it.
I've never used it.
And Julia does. Julia be putting it on all the time.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, I'm about to start hitting that button, notify anyways then. I'll be like, notify anyways. This chick works here.
No, like she responds during work hours, but at home or whatever, she ain't doing it. No, it's good.
Okay, Christmas is coming.
Yep.
You better be here.
Don't forget to show up.
Invite a friend. Let me tell you something. If you come to Christmas service and you haven't invited anybody, are you even a Christian?
Everybody wants to be a Christian until it's time to do Christian stuff. It's true.
Dang, that was hard.
It was good.
Like, you're going to the grocery store, right? Invite somebody.
Yeah, that's good.
Don't begin on social media and scrolling for 4 hours and not invite one person to come visit more church with you on Christmas.
I'm really actually super proud of our people on these.
They're killing it.
These mom talk shares and like all these things. Arlington, Mansfield. I'll be seeing somebody say like, we were looking for a place to go to church, and I will start. But then I always feel a little weird because like I work here, and so I feel a little weird to be like, come to our church because I work here. And so anyway,
no, they kill it. I
used to be the one that would be like, I've got to do it. Me and Rachel. But now they've all got 27 comments about it by the time I get there. I don't even need
what
to.
I love that our people do, and we need to talk about this tomorrow on Sunday, is that all the other people will comment and they'll just tag their church.
Right.
But they won't put, our people be writing a paragraph.
They be telling you why.
Yes.
All about it, where you can go.
Then they DM the person.
Privately
DM them and be like, hey, what's up? I just saw that you're asking for church. My name's so-and-so. I go to this service. You can come sit with me.
It's the best. Good job, guys.
That's evangelism.
That's what it is.
And so instead of knocking on a door.
Well, also you just helped anyone who's like, what do you mean invite someone? It's not that hard, y'all. It's not, you don't have to like have 3 scriptures and walk them down Romans Road. You just literally say, hey, you got anywhere you're going to Christmas this year?
Yeah.
Our church has cookies. Come decorate with us. Yeah.
And like, is it a little odd conversation starter? Yes. But like, guess what? Going to hell is way worse than odd. This is how I live my life. I'm like, is it odd? Yeah. But I would rather them experience this odd than die in hell.
I didn't.
So like when you're taking your trash cans out and your neighbors bring their trash cans down, be like, hey, run across the street, give them an invite to church.
Even if you've been fighting about the fence line or whatever it is with them.
Whatever.
Still
hey, if they got saved, you wouldn't be fighting about it.
That's true.
There was a guy at the gym I've been inviting for 3 years.
Yeah.
Never come. He came on Sunday. You know why? Tiffany invited him.
Yeah, he likes her more than you.
Definitely. Well.
No, I don't know. But no, it's true. Invite people. Bring a friend. Come to Christmas. Find your default.
Love you guys.
Love y'all.
See ya.